Tonight, a man accused of egging his son on in a brutal alleged attack in Port Augusta pleads guilty to assault. And all the thrills and spills as thousands pack Port Lincoln for the iconic Tunarama Festival.
This is Southern Cross News with Fraser Goldsworthy.
Good evening. A 46-year-old father caught on camera last month allegedly encouraging his son to bash another boy in a Port Augusta car park has appeared in court today. Amelia Simpson has more.
The shocking video, which surfaced online, sent waves throughout the Port Augusta community. Today, a 46-year-old man accused of aggravated assault appeared here at the Port Augusta Magistrates Court. He pleaded guilty to the charges. The disturbing footage went viral when it was posted on Facebook late last year.
Tell him to leave me alone then.
In an alleged revenge attack, the 46-year-old and his son can be seen pushing another boy to the ground. The young victim walked away with no serious injuries. The alleged attack took place in the car park of a Port Augusta cricket oval. The pair were later arrested and were both charged. Today, his lawyer told the court she needed to seek a copy of the footage and she needed more time to look into the accused's potential mental health issues. His son is set to front youth court over the incident. The father will again face the Port Augusta Magistrates Court in March.
Amelia Simpson reporting there. Well, Clare is now a hub for grain research and development for the Mid-North and Yorke Peninsula. Today marked the official opening of a new multi-purpose $3.7 million centre focused on harvest and production.
State-of-the-art technology leading the region into innovative scientific research. The new centre is 4 years in the making and is designed to meet the needs of the future.
Previously it was all in different locations and different sites. Here, this one has got all the key elements in one facility.
So this new facility allows us to expand our research within this region in a safe working environment as well.
Researchers will use the new lab to work out how farmers can grow grain crops more effectively.
Speeding up our research capacity, so from the research to the development to the farm gate, we're shortening the process through having this facility here.
The new centre will also allow workers to focus on local crop issues, committing to the future of the industry in the local area.
It supports our local growers, our grower groups, and provides them with a direct point of contact.
Within the next few months, the Clare Research Centre will be home to a controlled growth room for grains research. Once it's fully constructed, it'll be one of the most modern facilities in Australia.
It allows us to do research year-round, so we work on annual grain crops which have seasonal requirements. Now with this facility we can control the temperature of the room.
Spreading the jobs, the opportunity and the money into regional South Australia.
Rachel Nell, Southern Cross News.
The future of a council-owned special needs centre in Port Augusta is up in the air. It's been revealed it's running at a loss under the National Disability Insurance Scheme, and council is now asking the community what to do next.
A centre for the most vulnerable in the Port Augusta community has now become vulnerable itself.
The service is great, the staff are doing a great job, so the service operating is fantastic. It's just that the financial implications to council are now getting quite significant.
Dwindling client numbers and a battle to find funding under the NDIS rollout has cast a cloud over the future of the 37-year-old centre. The Port Augusta Council has decided to undertake a community consultation process.
Do we want to continue the service as it currently is? Do we want to change the service, or do we want to look to put the service in maybe private hands or other options? So
it will be asking the community of its thoughts on selling, merging, outsourcing or maintaining the centre.
It's important for people to know that this is only a consultation period. No final decision has been reached, and that they have a variety of options for providing feedback if they wish to.
One option could be to follow in the footsteps of the privatisation of Port Augusta's Nerilda nursing home last year.
We went through this with the aged care. We're now looking at this with Miriam High. Miriam High has been brought about at a much more rapid speed than only in the last few months as well. Management group were watching it in the last quarter of last year and have seen the impacts of the NDIS when it's been really rolled out last year.
A community forum will be held next week with a decision to be made on its future by the middle of next month. Amelia Simpson, Southern Cross News.
Nearly 20,000 people flocked to the Lower EP over the weekend for Port Lincoln's annual Tunarama Festival. The event attracted dignitaries from across the state and even from around the world, marking another successful year for the event.
They came by land, they came by air.
Welcome to Tunarama.
And for the first time, they came by sea.
3 cruise ships, 4 days, a huge number of people coming to our town.
Port Lincoln's iconic festival once again graced the Australia Day long weekend.
Privilege to declare the 2018 Port Lincoln Tunarama Festival officially open.
It was all hands on deck for a traditional Aussie breakfast, followed by a citizenship ceremony. Thousands then packed the foreshore for rides and hot donuts, the kids getting into the swing of things. There was plenty of smiling faces as the streets filled for the annual parade, farmers celebrating the end of harvest, while students showed off their latest dance moves. Opposition leader Stephen Marshall spurring them on from above.
G'day, how you going? Good to see you.
In all, nearly 20,000 people attended the festival, leaving a huge impact on the region's economy.
It's a real buzz and a real vibe, and something that is an enormous financial benefit to our part of the world.
Part of the buzz felt from 6,000 people docking in the harbour. The new visitors, a welcome catch for local businesses.
This is an aquaculture product, so grown up in Arno Bay.
Last year 4 cruise ships, this year 9, the following year 14 or 15. So it's a growing market for us. We are now on the destination.
People will say this is a friendly place. The mayor came out and met me. There was music playing on the wharf when we came out. They'll tell all their mates about this.
But of course it wouldn't be Tunarama without the tuna toss, many trying their hand at the perfect throw, some falling flat under pressure. Famous Japanese comedian Ayako Omoto controversially getting a second go after stepping over the line. But the winning toss belonged to Levi Proud for this spectacular throw. Measuring 18 metres, the local footballer is living up to the family name.
I've definitely come runner-up to my dad, so now it's just going to try and catch him with titles. He's got 6 and I've either got 1 or 2, so I'm catching him slowly.
Jason Kemp, Southern Cross News.
Looked like a great weekend. Well, coming up next, an oyster farm on the Peninsula secures funding from the state government in a battle against the POMS virus. That's next. The seafood industry has received a buffer from the state government in the form of a $250,000 grant to expand an oyster hatchery near Port Lincoln. 12 new jobs will be created in a bid to tackle the devastating POMS outbreak, which has crippled the industry.
For the last 2 years, the South Australian produce industry has been shell-shocked, while the Tasmanian POMS virus wiped out millions of oysters.
It's been tough all around. It's tough for the hatcheries, it's tough for the growers.
Strict biosecurity measures prevented the disease entering into SA, but they also crippled supply to grow more oysters within the state.
We know that there have been real challenges in the oyster growing industry with the POMS virus.
Hatcheries along the EP like Yamba Aquaculture have been rallying to grow enough spat in time to prevent a major oyster shortage. This weekend, Premier Jay Weatherill was in Port Lincoln to boost the industry, injecting $250,000 to keep supply moving.
This will provide an opportunity to expand the operations here to support the growth of a biosecure industry here in South Australia.
It means that we can accelerate the growth of hatchery and nursery infrastructure.
The expansion will mean 12 new hatchery jobs to produce more spat for local farms, but growers on the West Coast are pleading for relief just to keep their farms afloat.
There is a request for some relief to allow them to get through the next couple of years.
Farmers are looking to reduce their government lease fees while they're struggling with supply, the opposition leader backing their calls.
If Labor won't do it, the Liberal Party will certainly offer relief to this important sector.
The Premier says the decision will be made shortly.
We're very sympathetic to the plight of oyster growers and we'll give that early consideration.
Jason Kemp, Southern Cross News.
The state Liberals say they'll commit $12 million to construct an overpass at the intersection of the Copper Coast and Augusta highways if they're elected in March. The party says it'll help increase traffic flow, but Labor has slammed the move, saying it's a severe undervaluation. The Dignity Party has thrown its hat into the crowded ring for the seat of Giles, selecting a local disability advocate to run against Eddie Hughes. Sian Westerman is aiming to put the issues of disabled people in the regions at her forefront.
It was all smiles today as Ms Westerman entered the political fray. She was today unveiled as the Dignity Party's candidate for Giles in front of friends and family. She says she's doing it to ensure the needs of disabled people are catered for in rural South Australia.
Well, the Dignity Party has helped me with lots of different issues over the years, and I thought it'd be time to start helping back.
Sian recently helped secure funding for beach mats so wheelchair-bound people can enjoy Wyler Beach. And there's more sheet lakes seen done to make the town disabled and age-friendly.
Access to the new jetty, to be able to use the beach wheelchairs. There's lots of other different issues that needs to be addressed as well.
Dignity is the third party to challenge current Labor MP Eddie Hughes. Her aim? To change the thinking of politicians and bureaucrats.
Everyone is equal, and that no matter what, that everyone has a say in everything.
Dignity MP Kelly Vincent has backed Sian to do well at the March poll. She says no matter your status, age and disability issues are everyone's issues.
We're all going to be affected at some point by these decisions, and that's why the Dignity Party is lobbying hard to get the right social and economic investment.
John Hunt, Southern Cross News.
Local communities are being urged to help tackle the scourge of alcohol and drugs by applying for funding. The local Drug Action Team program is taking applications for teams who want to help their area in the fight against addiction. Successful groups will receive $10,000 to develop an action plan and can apply for another $30,000 to get their project off the ground. Applications closed next month. After the break, the election campaign across the region continues as Labor looks to invest in education. The details next. Anglers will be able to fish for snapper on the Spencer Gulf as of noon tomorrow. 4 areas in the Gulf, Illusion, Santa Ana, Jurassic Park and Estelle Star, have been off limits since December last year. Another zone in the Gulf St Vincent was also under a ban. During this time, 2 vessels were detected fishing for snapper and were issued with caution notices. The annual closure is put in place to provide extra protection to fish during breeding season. One of the region's MPs says the focus of this year's election campaign will be on local education. Eddie Hughes will be paying a visit to schools across the region as Labor looks to base its policies on schooling.
In the three-way contest between Labor, Liberal and SA Best, scrutiny of what everyone has to offer has never been higher. Labor is going back to school, spruiking its credentials in education across 100 SA schools. Eddie Hughes says his party's recent $1 billion investment puts Labor at the top of the class.
We've already engaged in significant spending, and there's going to be additional spending because education is the most important thing we can do.
He's travelling to the north of the electorate to reinforce Labor's commitment, and he says Wyler children aren't being left behind.
4 new schools, one of which is going to be here in Wyler, building 4 STEM facilities here in Wyler at 4 of the primary schools.
He's also questioned whether SA Best has done its homework on the subject.
Xenophon doesn't have an education policy or a health policy, so I'm sure they'll cobble something together just in time.
Recent NAPLAN report cards show South Australian students are trailing other states in literacy and numeracy. Mr Hughes is confident increased funding in teacher development will close that gap.
Investing not just in facilities, but the most important element is in our teachers.
John Hunt, Southern Cross News.
Stay with us. After the break, we'll have all the local weather details with Amy Stevenson. And Amy, it seems the Spencer Gulf is in for some much-needed wet weather.
Indeed it is, Fraser. With the rainy change continuing around most centres in the Spencer Gulf, I'll have all the details next. Welcome back. temperatures dropped to 25 in Port Augusta today as the wet and windy conditions continued. Port Augusta also had another windy day, reaching 22. The same conditions in Whyalla, 24 the top there. Temperatures did hover in the mid to high 20s for all other centres. Checking the satellite now, and the cold front passing over the west and south of the state is what's bringing the rain and storms to South Australia. And while we'll continue to see patchy cloud over the northwest of the state, dry conditions are set to continue across the region. If you're planning on being on the waters tomorrow, we will see strong southeasterly winds up to 30 knots, seas will reach 2.5 metres and the sun will pop up at 6:38. Taking a look at conditions for tomorrow, and the cloudy day for Port Augusta with maximum temperatures of 25 degrees, while Port Lincoln is also in for another windy day and 22. Temperatures in Whyalla, Woodna and Corn will all hover in the mid-20s. Meanwhile, another windy day in Broken Hill tomorrow, tops of 26 there. And if you're heading to Adelaide, it'll be a cloudy 25 degrees, but temperatures are staying in the mid to low 20s for all other districts. Looking ahead for the rest of the week, and temperatures will creep back up towards the high 20s before the weekend in Port Lincoln, after highs of only 22 and 23 earlier in the week. However, the showers will continue in Woodna over the weekend and a top of 32 on Saturday. Cloudy skies in Cleve before a sunny day and 29 on Saturday. Further up the Gulf, and the sun will return in Whyalla by Saturday, with temperatures creeping back up towards the low 30s. Port Augusta will also see some sun over the weekend, with a few cloudy days and possible showers, tops of 24 up until then. And the warmer temperatures will also return in Kadina after hovering in the mid-20s late in the week, 28 on Thursday, 30 on Friday, and 33 the top on Saturday. It'll be a cloudy couple of days with some showers in Port Pirie, however hitting tops of 30 on Friday and 34 over the weekend. Clare will also creep up towards 30 degrees, and a little bit more relief from those extreme temperatures in Broken Hill, although it will be a warmer 33 on Saturday, after temperatures staying in the mid to high 20s for the rest of the week. So Fraser, the wet weather will continue for a few days in the Spencer Gulf until the sun comes out just in time for the weekend.
That is perfect timing. Thanks, Amy. And that's all the news to now. Thanks for your company. I'll have some news breaks later. Until then, we'll leave you with some more pictures from the Tunarama Festival from Port Lincoln over the weekend. Enjoy your evening. Good night.